Hello and welcome. I'm Rossi Sanchez, and this is Mindful Evenings. Mindful Evenings is, in the words of one of my followers, not just another meditation thing. It's a bit of science, emotional intelligence, and a bit of story peppered with my unique sense of humor. Every week, we take a 30-minute light but deep dive into common behaviors and relationship issues and use the power of focus to tap into who we truly are so we can start understanding, appreciating, and loving ourselves and those around us more, and creating the life we came here to live. Thank you for being here tonight to uncover Focus, the secret to your superpowers, from my Intentions for 2021 series. The sequence will be as follows. I'm going to tell you a few short stories, then we'll do a journaling exercise, so make sure you have pen and paper handy, followed by a mindfulness meditation practice, and finally, there will be open sharing if desired. To start, I want to invite you to get comfortable and relax. We're going to breathe. So if you're seated, place your feet on the floor, roll your shoulders back, let out your belly, place your hands on your lap, open to the sky, and close your eyes. And let's take 3 deep and satisfying breaths. Breathe in for a count of 4. Breathe out for a slow count of 8. One more time. And again. Nice. Let me ask you something. How much control do you really have over your life? I must have been around 7 or so when I woke up one morning and decided I didn't want to go to school. No specific reason, I just didn't want to go. But how could I con my parents, my father especially, into letting me skip school that day? We weren't out of town, or I hadn't gotten run over by the ice cream truck. So the only other way to get out of going to school, my little brain surmised, was to get sick. So I proceeded to do just that. I'm not talking about faking it. I made myself sick. Got a fever, stayed in bed all day. As small as I was, I remember thinking what a dumb idea that had been, because although I did get to stay home, I wasn't having any fun. What was the point in that? During the 2008 depression, my last ex-husband and I were both laid off. He decided to focus on the state of the economy and the daily bad news. I focused on learning something new, networking, and looking for work. As an advertising copywriter, I shouldn't have had much hope, since advertising was usually the first thing to be cut in most corporations. But I refused to buy into the fact that I wasn't going to find work. And in fact, I found temporary work. Then one afternoon, driving home from a fun little gig in this small agency where I worked on avocados from Mexico, I got a call from my old employer, Verizon. Someone had told someone about me and they wanted to rehire me virtually and offered me a 6-figure salary during a recession. Of course, I took it. My ex, he didn't get a job. How I got to be a 6-figure making copywriter is another funny story. Back in the 90s, I had been working in public relations for about 7 years when an account management position came up at a very prominent ad agency. We're talking about one of the largest ad agencies in the world, no less, working on the IBM account, no less. I knew nothing about account management. I knew a bit about advertising from what I read in newspapers and magazines and watched on basic television. And I knew that IBM made computers. More importantly, I knew I wanted to change. I passed the interview with flying colors and got the job with a 30% bump in salary. But I soon realized account management was not for me. And I started hanging out in the back of the office with the creatives. I made friends with all of them, and a year later, I put together a very original direct mail piece offering bilingual copywriting services to agencies in the area. I was soon hired by another big agency and another one and lived off of freelancing for over a decade. Before I created that direct mail piece, I'd never done any real copywriting, but my father had always told me I was a writer. And so in my mind, I was. Can you spot the one common denominator in these three stories? I'll give you a hint. It's beliefs. In the first story, as a 7 year old, I believed I could do anything, and I did. In the second story, I believed in a bright future, and it came about. In the third story, I totally believed what my father told me. So I became what he said I was capable of being. Beliefs are nothing more than thoughts we think all the time, usually about ourselves. They become our truths, and they form this lens through which we then interpret the events of our world and look for confirmation of the beliefs themselves, which then become our self concept, our I am and I can statements about who we are and what we can accomplish. And we create stories based on these statements. We write the story of what we think is likely and or possible based on our beliefs, and then take action according with those expectations. In other words, we dictate our self-fulfilling prophecy. If you believe you're not lovable, it doesn't matter how many people fall head over heels for you. You're never going to believe it. And consequently, you may live out your life alone and unloved, thereby proving to yourself what you believed all along. If we let them, beliefs can keep us stuck in yesterday for as long as we live, recreating past experiences in new places, under new circumstances, and with new people, because we're looking for things to be like they've been. And inevitably, there will be. By thinking and doing what you've always thought of and done, you're creating the same future as your past. We're all familiar with the all too familiar phrase, I'll believe it when I see it. Neuroscience now confirms what many have known for centuries as faith, and that is that what we believe, we see. In essence, our beliefs dictate who we turn out to be and what kind of life we lead. We act in ways likely to bring about what we believe is true. That is the very definition of creating our reality. We're always creating our reality, whether we do it consciously or by default. There is nothing magical or woo woo about this. It's just how the brain works. A composer hears a tune in her mind before it becomes a song. An architect sees the plans in her head before the building is built. A chef can taste the combination of ingredients before putting together a recipe. And this applies to our lives. If you're blind to this, or simply don't believe it, then you're likely to feel like a victim in your life. But then when you become aware of it, ooh, suddenly you tap into your superpowers and can take control of the creation of your life. And yes, there are random events over which we have no control. I mean, come on. We're living one right now with this global pandemic and its devastating effects. But whether it's a pandemic, layoffs, or a natural disaster, which are all uncontrollable life events, what we do have full control of and where we start to create our reality is in how we think and feel about the events that happen to us and how we then respond to them. No one can make us think or act a certain way. Our thoughts, feelings, and actions are ours alone, and through them, we manifest our reality. Henry Ford left us with a great quote. He said, "Whether you think you can or think you can't, you're right." My last ex continually watched the news for reinforcement of how bad the economy was and how there was no way he could get a job. He was right. I refused to accept the doom and gloom and was purely focused on getting a job. I was right. As children, we're pure and powerful because we're still very connected to that creamy cookie center of loving creative energy that is at the core of who we all are. When I was 7, I didn't have a lot of things to think about other than not wanting to go to school that day. And because I was untainted by layers of limiting beliefs that told me otherwise, it was easy for me to manifest my illness within an hour or so. As we grow older and more detached from our core, it may take us a bit longer to fall ill so we can call in sick to work. But hey, it's definitely doable. You just have to plan ahead. I'm joking, but the inverse of this is also true. We now know that we can heal ourselves by believing that we can. Our beliefs have immense control over our body's chemistry, which is why placebos can be so effective. In summary, if you believe you can, you might as well drape a cape over your shoulders and fly off into the sunset because positive beliefs are the superpowers that fuel the creation of your life. And with that said, let's look now at some of the beliefs you may be writing in your own storybook. Please take out pen and paper. Oops. Take out pen and paper. And in the first column, you're going to make a list of beliefs you currently hold about yourself and your abilities, who you can be, and what you're capable of achieving. These can be positive or negative beliefs. If you could all unmute mute yourselves, please. Thank you. Nope. If you could all mute yourselves, please. Not sure who it is. I can't. Thank you, Cindy. In the second column, for each belief you wrote in column 1, write down experiences you've had that support that belief, evidence of the belief manifesting itself as per your expectations. In the third column, if it's a positive belief you hold and which has manifested as a dream come true, great. Draw a big old heart. If it's a negative belief you hold, accompanied by supporting evidence, write in this column, I'll see it when I believe it. And now, please put your pen and paper aside. We're going to meditate. So get comfortable. If you're seated, place your feet on the floor. Relax your shoulders. Place your hands on your lap, palms facing to the sky, and let your belly come out to play. Close your eyes and inhale deeply through your nose for a count of 8. Feel your belly rise and hold it for a count of 4. Now inhale again for a count of 3. Hold and exhale slowly and softly for a count of 8. Feel your belly emptying out into your rib cage. Let's do this again. Inhale deeply for a count of 8. Hold it for a count of 4. Inhale again for 3. Hold. Exhale for a count of 8. One more time. Now start to breathe normally again and just observe your breath. You're not trying to breathe, you're just watching the process as it happens. Notice if by observing your breath, you change it in any way. Now, place your attention on the top of your head, on your scalp. Travel down your scalp and place your attention on your right ear. Feel the contours of your ear. Feel the scalp area surrounding your ear. Now focus your attention on making that area of your scalp itch. You are going to give yourself an itch. You can do this by just visualizing the word itch and letting it go, or by picturing something that can make you itch, like the texture of certain wools or an insect bite. Keep it simple. Once you feel the itch, don't scratch it. Instead, place your attention on your left big toe. Feel the skin beneath the toe as it comes in contact with the floor. Notice the space over the toe and the sock or shoe you're wearing, or just the air around it if you're barefoot. Notice your toenail. For the next minute, place all your focus on your left big toe and notice if anything changes. Now, let's get back to your breath. Notice how it flows in and out through your nostrils and how your belly and chest rise and fall. Let's stay here for 1 minute, just observing your breath. Now think back to the journaling exercise we did and choose one of the negative beliefs on your list, next to which you wrote the sentence, "I'll see it when I believe it." And for the next 3 minutes, you're going to do just that. You're going to visualize that which you don't quite believe is possible because you don't think you can be it or do it, but you're going to see it manifesting in your life nonetheless. Don't worry about how or when. Don't think about the details of what you need to make it happen. Just focus on what you want to be or achieve, why you want it, and more importantly, how it makes you feel just to think about it manifesting. Allow yourself to feel the emotions you would expect to feel as the experience unfolds. You're there in the moment. You're creating it. Also, give yourself permission to express those emotions without judgment. Don't hold back. The more real your experience becomes within you, the closer you'll be to creating it out in the world. If, as you're visualizing your dream come true, the limiting belief pops up into your head, just observe it for what it is. It's just a thought, and then let it go and get back to visualizing your dream. When you're ready, you can open your eyes. Welcome back, everyone. You can unmute your phones now. Okay, I want to know who made themselves itch. There you go. You did too. Awesome. We can do anything, can't we?
Of course, I think a few other spots started itching too. So
They all do. Yes, it's you started all over your
my
body.
nose, you know, like it's all.
Mine wasn't like right over my ear. It was like up here, and I'm like, oh, You imagined it in the wrong place.
No, it happens wherever. But then when you switch your attention to the left toe, that's just a strategy to get you distracted, because you can't tell yourself, I don't, I'm itching, I don't want to itch, I need to scratch. That's not going to work. So by switching to something random, like a left toe, then you sort of get the focus away from that. Was that possible for you?
My toe became very heavy. I could feel like a really heaviness about my left toe. And I was thinking, what is wrong with my left toe?
Nothing. It's
My
all that
sock is
wonderful
way too
energy.
heavy.
It's all that wonderful energy. Somebody's paying attention to me.
Those poor toes.
But you didn't have to scratch, right?
Nope.
See? That came to me in meditation once. I thought, oh my God, this is awesome. What a great way to just shift your focus, right?
Yeah, for
Like
sure.
shifting your beliefs. You believe this, that's not going anywhere. You just shift to something positive, and there it goes. Does anyone else have anything they want to share from their experience? Sheila, I see you're on. Oh, she's connecting. So do you understand how thoughts dictate your reality? Because whatever you focus your thoughts on, that's what's going to become. If you think you can, you will. If you think you can't, you won't. It's that simple. What happens sometimes is that we think about what we want, and we dream about it for a little bit. But as we wait for it to materialize, because everything takes time, we start doubting. Oh, but it's too costly, but it's too difficult. Oh no, that's going to take too much. It's not doable. Oh, but no one's going to buy it, or who, little old me, who am I to aspire to something like that? But, and these buts are just barriers you're putting up, and barriers don't create. They're not expansive. They constrict. They keep things in. You can't create with buts.
Gotta write that one down.
You can't create with buts? Yeah, that's a heck of a quote. Hi, Sheila. So good to see you.
Hi. I joined late. I'm sorry.
All right. That's all right. There's a little echo there.
Yeah, there's feedback.
There's a little feedback, yes. Anything else from anyone?
I think one of the uncomfortable things for me is that while I get that beliefs create my reality, I have to then go back and think of through the past of my history, where now suddenly that may apply, whereas opposed to it was my boss or my whatever or this or something else out there. I have to, it forces me to go,
Yeah,
how much of that was actually really me?
all of it.
Well, exactly, but you don't want, there's a lot of history to think about.
Right. Right. Because they can't make you, your boss can't make you think or do anything. So,
And not that I can do anything about it in the past, but it sort of, when you say, oh, okay, so that's what I think or how I act in those particular situations, how will I do differently in the future?
Exactly. Yeah, no, and plus we always like to know the why, right? Not that it matters really. I mean, you have it. Okay, yeah, I've always believed this. This is why this is happening, right? It keeps repeating itself in my life because I keep doing the same thing. I keep thinking the same thing. So, I mean, if you want to analyze it, great, but you don't have to. You just now need to focus on your left toe and get the focus off that belief. Anything else?
Yeah, this whole idea of manifesting it. I did some work where 3 times a day I said I am consistent, confident, and prosperous. And I had to say it, see it, feel it, and become it, eventually. And I was able to do two of the things. And then life showed up. And I am prosperous got lost. And I didn't do a lot of mental rehearsal or manifestation. I couldn't see it in the midst of financial messiness. I'll call it that. But what I was looking at was the financial messiness. I wasn't looking at how I had prospered
Exactly.
with followers and with doors being opened and with opportunity. And so I had focused on the wrong thing.
Exactly.
Everything else was building up to prosperous, but I was only seeing prosperous as wealth in currency.
Mhm.
And in fact, I had so much other kinds of currency, love and kindness and the fruit of the spirit. So it was really an interesting lesson as I worked through it.
And if you shift your focus to that wealth, then
Yeah.
this well, your material wealth will definitely come on board. And you're just shifting to, oh, but I do have this. I may not have a great job, but hey, I'm a great parent. And eventually your dream of having a great job will come to be because you're focused on that which is good and is flourishing and is full of energy. And that's energizing everything else.
Yeah, I think I had to get into that quiet space tonight to be able to visualize the impact that I can make on world hunger and children and distribution of food. But I had to first get in that quiet place with breathing and, just quiet my world. I'm also in a hotel room tonight and not at home, which makes a difference, right? When you're alone.
That's always great. Cindy, how did you hear about me?
I want to say that it was probably Carol Feely's group.
Okay, great.
She's my accountability partner in Win on Repeat with Danelle Delgado.
Okay.
And so I joined her group, and then she had this listed, and I shared this with a lot of people. I was hoping they would get on because many of my friends have trouble getting that mindset to becoming. That
Mhm.
your mind is really you can control your mind. It's so hard to explain that to people till you have the breakthrough. Once you have the breakthrough, you believe it. You believe that there's another life for you right around the corner. So I was hoping a bunch of them would join.
Well, I of course I record this and it goes on my YouTube channel and I also share it in
Good.
Facebook and I'll share it with the group so then you can, if you want to forward it, then you can do that. So thank you. Thank you for joining. It's great to have you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay. Well, I want to thank you all for joining me tonight. And this was the last program of Intentions for 2021, that the series. But before I go, I want to leave you with one final thought. Whatever you're doing at any one time is what you're training your brain to become better at. So think about that. So focus your attention on what you want to grow and manifest in your life and watch it come alive. Next month, I'll be doing a 3-part relationship series to include topics on triggers, difficult conversations, and how people are in our lives as mirrors, reflecting back our own feelings and behaviors. I encourage you to join me and bring your partners, friends, parents, children, anyone you have a relationship with, because this topic doesn't relate to couples. It relates to you, to yourself, to ourselves as individuals, and as part of all those relationships that we're in. So please pass the word along. I look forward to seeing you same time, same place, starting next Wednesday, February 3rd, right here on Zoom. For now, I'm Rossi Sanchez, and this is Mindful Evenings. Good night.
Thank you, Rossi.
Thank you so much, Rossi.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rossi. We'll see you
Bye.
next
Good
week.
night.
Good night.